Scream proves Jack Quaid should play a Star Trek villain. Jack Quaid's malevolent performance in Scream 2022 proves he has the chops to play a great Star Trek villain. Quaid winds down his fan-favorite 5-season run as Lieutenant Bradward Boimler on Star Trek: Lower Decks. Similarly, Jack will also soon wrap his tenure as Huey Campbell on The Boys, which enters its 5th and final season on Prime Video. With two of his most popular heroic characters in his rearview mirror, Jack Quaid should stay in Star Trek, but this time as a dastardly villain. The son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, Jack Quaid's first film role was as a murderous heel. Jack played Marvel in 2012's The Hunger Games opposite Jennifer Lawrence's breakout performance as Katniss Everdeen. One of the evil tributes from District 1 in the 74th Hunger Games, Marvel will always live in infamy as the person who killed Rue, Amandla Stenberg. It was a memorable big-screen debut for the young Quaid, and while Jack has played many heroes since, he has a villainous streak that could benefit Star Trek. Jack Quaid's Scream killer role proves he should play a Star Trek villain. A decade after the Hunger Games, Jack Quaid returned to the big screen by joining the cast of 2022's Scream. Jack played Richie Kirsch, who was, on the surface, the supportive boyfriend of Sam Carpenter, Melissa Barrera. But Richie's good guy persona was a ruse because he was slashing Sam's friends and trying to murder Sam herself, as the Ghostface killer. Richie was secretly in cahoots with Amber Freeman, Mikey Madison, who was the other killer, alternating with Richie as Ghostface. Thanks to Jack, Richie ranks among the scariest and best villains to wear Scream's Ghostface mask and hood. Scream 6 revealed that Richie was a Ghostface fanboy who knew everything about the legacy of Woodsboro's murders. Jack cameoed as Richie in Scream 6 as his twisted family seeks revenge on Sam and her sister, Tara Carpenter, Jenna Ortega. Quaid made for a truly diabolical killer, and Jack was so impactful as Richie that his specter was enough to drive Scream 6's Ghostface conspiracy. Scream and his role in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer cemented Jack Quaid as a movie star, who, in turn, shines that same star power in Star Trek, Lower Decks, The Boys, and his other roles. Most of Jack Quaid's movie and TV career has been defined by the heroes he plays. As one of the boys, Huey Campbell is forced to operate in some morally gray areas, but his inner core is heroic, and Huey genuinely strives to do the right thing. Huey's good guy nature even finally rubbed off on A-Train, Jesse T. Usher, helping to turn the speedster against Homelander, Anthony Starr, at the end of The Boys Season 4. Of course, Jack also plays the most noble superhero of all as he voices the Man of Steel in My Adventures with Superman. As Star Trek: Lower Decks' LT Bradward Boimler and his transporter clone, Captain William Boimler, Jack Quaid embodies one of the most exemplary rising Starfleet officers in modern Star Trek. What Brad Boimler lacks in confidence, he makes up for in his dedication to Starfleet, vast knowledge of trivia, and desire to one day become a great starship captain. Jack brilliantly brought Boimler to live action in Star Trek: Strange New Worlds' acclaimed crossover, even performing his animated character's hilarious body language as the flesh and blood Bradward. But what's the final frontier for Jack Quaid in Star Trek? Villainy. The Scream franchise, long known for its mastery of horror and suspense, delivered a new jolt of energy in its 2022 reboot with the addition of actor Jack Quaid. Quaid, already beloved for his work as Huey Campbell in The Boys, showcased a new side of his acting range that cemented his versatility as a performer. In Scream, he plays Richie Kirsch, a charming, seemingly innocent love interest who, in a shocking twist, is revealed to be one of the Ghostface killers. Quaid's portrayal of Richie wasn't just about the reveal, it was about how seamlessly he navigated the two personas, making him a perfect candidate to play a villain in one of Sci-Fi's most iconic universes, Star Trek. A villain with layers. One of the reasons Quaid's performance in Scream was so impactful is the way he was able to balance Richie's dual personalities. On the surface, Richie is funny, likable, and even endearing. He's the kind of character you root for, especially in the context of a horror film where his earnest reactions to the chaos make him relatable. But beneath that surface, Quaid slowly unveils a darker, more sinister persona, calculating and unhinged, with an agenda that flips everything on its head. It's this ability to play a villain hiding in plain sight that makes Quaid stand out. In Star Trek, a franchise known for its rich, layered villains, this quality would be invaluable. The best Star Trek villains, like Khan Noonien Singh, Gul Dukat, or even Q, are not one-dimensional evildoers. They are complex characters with motivations that go beyond simple destruction or chaos. They challenge the ideals of the Starfleet officers they oppose, often forcing them to confront moral ambiguities and ethical dilemmas. Quaid's ability to oscillate between likability and menace would allow him to create a villain who is not just evil for evil's sake, but one who is charismatic, even sympathetic, before revealing their true, darker nature. The Star Trek connection. Interestingly, Jack Quaid already has ties to the Star Trek universe, lending his voice to the animated series Star Trek: Lower Decks. As Ensign Brad Boimler, Quaid plays a character who is almost the polar opposite of a villain, an earnest, rule-following officer who dreams of climbing the ranks of Starfleet. Boimler is a lovable goofball, often bumbling his way through adventures with good intentions, but Quaid's performance still manages to bring depth to what could easily be a one-note character. This experience within the Star Trek world gives Quaid a unique perspective on the franchise's lore and characters. He understands the tone and history of Star Trek, and that knowledge would help him craft a villain that feels at home in this universe. Furthermore, his voice work on Lower Decks demonstrates his ability to shift between different emotional beats, something crucial for a villain who would need to manipulate both the audience and the characters around him. The best Star Trek villains are personal. Another aspect of Star Trek's most memorable villains is the personal connection they have to the protagonists. Khan's vendetta against Captain Kirk in The Wrath of Khan is not just about power, it's about revenge, about feeling wronged. Similarly, Gul Dukat's obsession with Benjamin Sisko in Deep Space Nine becomes a central part of his villainy, turning their conflict into something deeply personal. Quaid has already shown, through his work in Scream and The Boys, that he can thrive in stories where personal relationships are at the heart of the conflict. In The Boys, his character Huey starts out as a victim of the corrupt superheroes, particularly a Train who kills his girlfriend. As the show progresses, Huey's quest for justice, and later revenge, becomes deeply personal, shaping his character's journey. Quaid's performance captures the emotional depth of someone who has been wronged and seeks retribution, which could translate brilliantly into a Star Trek villain. Imagine a Star Trek storyline where Quaid's villain has a personal grudge against a member of the Enterprise crew. Perhaps they were wronged by Starfleet in the past or suffered due to a decision made by one of the captains. Quaid could bring the emotional weight necessary to make that conflict feel real, much like he did with Richie's motivations in Scream or Huey's journey in The Boys. A personal vendetta would not only make the villain more compelling, but also give Quaid the opportunity to showcase the range that made his performance in Scream so chilling. Balancing charm and danger. What makes Jack Quaid a particularly exciting choice for a Star Trek villain is his ability to blend charm with danger. In Scream, Richie is funny and endearing, right up until the moment he's revealed as a killer. This kind of duality is exactly what Star Trek's best villains possess. They are not just threatening, but also captivating. You can't take your eyes off them, even as they scheme and manipulate their way to their goals. Quaid's natural charisma would allow him to create a villain who can charm the crew of the Enterprise, lulling them into a false sense of security before revealing their true, malicious intentions. Whether it's